Are you a 10 cow wife or a 10 cow woman? So in the polygamist group that I grew up in, every other Wednesday night we would go to what was called girls class or priesthood meeting, where we would be displayed in front of all of the girls or all of the priesthood men so that they could have their pick of the up and coming girls. Well, that I've done a couple of posts on women or property. This goes right along with that post. So after this one particular night, after we had gone through priesthood meeting, we were on our way home, and my dad says to me, "Hey Mel, I had 3 or 4 men ask about you tonight. I told them that you were my 10 cow girl, that they would have to come up with 10 cows in order to get you." Well, I had a sister who was 4 hours older than me, and I had a sister who was 17 months younger than me, and we were all sitting in the car and we were joking about how many cows we were worth to these men. And we were joking that my sister, who's 4 hours older than me, was only worth 5 cows because she couldn't cook or clean. She didn't know how to cook. And my sister, who was 17 months younger than me, was only a 3 cow wife because she had a really smart mouth and would tell people off. So they weren't worth as many. And I was a 10 cow wife because I could cook and I could clean and I could tend to the babies. And I had a lot of older men ask about me. And so here we were, these young girls in the backseat, 12, 13, 14, super impressionable, literally arguing and making fun of each other for how many cows we were worth. And yes, it was said in jest and joking, but there's always that underlining tone that's not jesting and not joking, and that there was a little bit of truth to it. And so we would sit there and we would joke with each other and make fun of each other. Don't worry, if you learn how to cook, you'll be a 10 cow wife. And there are scriptures where women were bought and sold for cattle in the scriptures. And so my dad would constantly joke around and say we were worth X amount of cows. And then on our way home, numerous times we would have these jokes about whether we were 10 cow, 2 cow, 3 cow, whatever value that we felt based on these middle-aged men who were asking about us, and whether we were the cattle value that we were. And it got to be so bad that even there was a local business here in Utah that would hire all the plig kids, and we would all go there and get hired there, and we would all work for this. It was a dental company here. And so one night after work, we're all sitting around talking about who had asked about us at girls class, because that's usually where it would happen, is the men would ask about the up and coming girls after girls class. So we're all sitting around and we're talking about this. And sometimes my dad would tell me the names of these older men that would ask about me. So they were saying, "How many men have asked about you? How many men have asked about you?" And we were talking, and I had mentioned, "Oh, I don't know, I had like 5 men ask about me at this last girls class." Oh my gosh, that caused so much upset. And then I mentioned a name of one of the men. Well, one of the girls that we were talking with, so my sister, who was 4 hours older than me, it was her and I having the conversation, and then other girls around kind of joined in. Well, one of the girls actually was very interested in this man who had asked about me, and she was so offended and so upset that this man would ask about me and not ask about her. And she called me a liar and told me that I was lying, and that this man would never ask about somebody like me. And I'm like, well, he did, and here's what he said to my dad. And so here, as 16-year-old girls, we're sitting in work arguing over what middle-aged man is asking about us and asking it. And so this girl ends up actually marrying this man later on in life, and then he ended up leaving all of his wives and leaving the polygamist group. But she was actually highly offended. And so I'm like, what kind of conversations do 16-year-old girls have on job sites? We're arguing whether these middle-aged men have asked about courting us or pursuing us, and that's our conversations. And it's that just tells you how programmed we were to know that we were property. Well, we didn't know that we were property, but we were being programmed into believing that we were property. So we're literally arguing at work of whether somebody had asked about us or not. And the man who had, this middle-aged man was a good 18, 15 years older than me. And I was probably 13 the first time he asked about me. And so that's the sad part about women being property. Are you a 10 cow wife? Are you a 5 cow wife? What can you do to get yourself to a 10 cow wife if you're only a 5 cow wife? We would literally have these types of conversations, and it's disgusting and sad that 16-year-olds are comparing themselves to each other and arguing with each other over a middle-aged man's attention who is trying to barter with my father over my value.